managing, I'm going to be interviewing my dad, Dave Touhill. And rather than give him any more introductions, I think I'll just start asking with questions. Dad, thanks for joining us. Thank you for taking the time. We've had some technical difficulties, so this is our second go. So Dad, tell us a little bit about where you were born and when.
Okay. I was born in 1946 in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, which is in the southeast corner of Missouri, southeast, called the Touhill. And so our family moved there after World War II. The rest of my family was born in St. Louis, and my father was a doctor, so he did physicals at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri during World War II. And after the war, he took over a practice of a doctor who had died in Dexter, Missouri. So that's why I was born. I was actually born in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, because Dexter did not have a hospital. And in those days, just for, if you know anything about pregnancies, the woman would stay in the hospital for 2 weeks. And I think I came home in an ambulance for 2 weeks.
Because the risks were so high? Or?
No, I mean, I don't know. It was
just
just the way they did it. It was a big deal. So.
Do you know anything about your lineage, where your family came from? Like.
Yes, I'm mainly Irish. My father, Touhill, is an Irish name, and Farrell was his mother, and then my mother's name was Dempsey, and her father came over from Ireland when he was 12 years old. So we're probably mainly about 3/4 Irish.
Okay. So did you grow up with any siblings? Did you grow up close with them?
Yes, we had. There were 2 brothers who were 6 and 7 years older, and my sister's 10 years older, and she was. They were all born in St. Louis, so my sister was born in 1936. I mean, that's a long time ago, and but so we had a good relationship. But they live all over one lives in Arizona, one lives in St. Louis, and one lives in Rhode Island. So we're kind of spread out now.
And can you describe your house growing up or anything?
A very nice house in where we lived in southeast Missouri, and it was just a beautiful house. And I had a dog, Champ, a black lab, who was a great dog. And my brothers made a miniature golf course in our backyard, and we had a basketball hoop, and we had apple trees and grape vineyard vines in the next door neighbor, which we used to go and sneak the grapes. She'd yell at us. So it was great. It was a great house. A lot of friends, and there was a lot of room and canyons and different things. We'd go out and hike through all that. There were snakes, all kinds of stuff.
So what's something that you really loved to do growing up as a kid?
Well, mainly we all loved to just be together. A lot of friends. The gang. It was not a gang like in today's gang, but I would play sports. Basketball, football, baseball, whatever the season was, we would be out there morning to night playing sports and enjoying ourselves. And one of my friends, Jimmy Bland, became a really great high school and college football player in that area. In fact, they named a new gym after him. I didn't think it was that good when I was 8 years old, but I guess it was better.
So you'd say sports were your hobbies growing up, basically. And what was your first memory as a child?
Well, again, it's hard to say, but I remember one situation where I was probably around 6, and I picked up a can lid. I was walking, my father sailed a can lid, sailed around a very nice arc through the sky. I was very proud of it, hit a lady in the neck. And fortunately, my father was a doctor, so he brought her in and stitched her up. So that's probably my first traumatic episode. But I got off easy. My brother, one time he set off a cherry bomb and cut his hand. But he was afraid to go because he knew he was going to get a good spanking after my dad stitched up his hand. So he finally went in, took his medicine.
So did you live in that house your whole life, or did you move?
No, my father died when I was 9. That's in 1956. And we moved back to St. Louis. So we went from this pretty nice house to a 3rd floor apartment, 6-family apartment, and in a Jewish neighborhood in St. Louis. Clayton is the area they call it. And so I grew up there. We moved a few times as I moved through schools in that area, grade school, with the Sisters of St. Joseph, and then Chaminade, which was a all-boys high school. Back in that day, most of the, at least the Catholic secondary schools, they were all girls or all boys schools. In St. Louis, there probably were, excuse me, 10 girls school, 10 boys schools.
So was that a boarding school or was that a...
It was, but I didn't board. I was a day student. My brothers, when we lived in southeast Missouri, they actually boarded there.
And would that have been something that would have been common back then?
Yeah, not uncommon.
Yeah.
And my sister boarded at Villa de Chêne in St. Louis, which was a very good school.
And both those schools still exist today, right?
Yep.
Growing up, was your family religious?
Yes, we were Catholic, and so we would go to Sunday Mass and occasionally go to adoration and different services in the church. And so religion meant a lot to us growing up.
Were there any big headlines that you remember living through?
Yeah, especially more into the high school years. There was there was a big election when Kennedy and Johnson fought out to get the nomination of the Democratic Party. And that was on first, I think one of the first ones on TV, and it was very exciting even for a kid. We watched it morning to night, or whenever it was on. And that was really exciting, and then Johnson lost, Kennedy won, and then there was a big thing about making Johnson a VP, which they did, so that was all. That was very exciting. Then of course the Cuban Missile Crisis in early 60s was, we thought there was really a chance that the nuclear war was going to happen, and it almost did. And then of course when John Kennedy was shot, I was a senior in high school, and I remember exactly where everybody was when they announced that he died.
Association.
That was,
Do you remember any new technologies or anything that you were really excited about growing up? I know for us it's kind of iPads.
TV was big. I was very excited about TV. I have a big TV and little picture. But we used to watch Crusader Rabbit was my favorite show. And it was on once a day for 5 minutes. So I'd wait all day for it and it'd be on, and sponsored by Bunny Bread. It only lasts about 3 minutes. And I used to watch some other great, I watched The Test Pattern, which was, that was another favorite show for me. And then Soldiers of Fortune, Tim Kelly and Touhill Smith was a big one. And actually they were, probably if I saw them today, I would say they were duds, but then it was like, whoa, Soldiers of Fortune's on, boy, we were ready.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So do you think that your childhood has influenced you and how you decided to raise your family?
Sure. I mean, I think everyone's childhood does that, and certainly mine did. We had a happy family, a lot, some sorrows, and but it certainly, we had a lot of fun, and we used to laugh a lot, and probably the Irish sense of humor, and that was good. But for me, later on in life, when I really had a conversion, I kind of lost my faith. But when I came back to the faith with back when we were first married, that was really a turning point for us, where we gave our lives to Jesus Christ. That was the most important thing we ever did, and influenced us probably having 10 kids as opposed to having 2 dogs and a cat and a goldfish. So.
All right, well, that's a good thing, because I'm number 10. Dad, thank you for taking the time to talk with me and to share a little bit about yourself with the class. And class, I hope you enjoyed learning about my dad.
Life is good.